he was insisting, so much only now emerging from the years spent in Nice. It was true he had not died in battle. It was the Spanish flu that had taken him off 2 days before the armistice was signed. But he had been trepanned for shrapnel wounds, and that must have weakened his resistance. He could certainly have been honoured as one mort pour la patrie, and indeed was, in the street named after him, and by the tombstone in Père Lachaise. He had said this already, more than once, and no one now was paying attention. He looked to Max, whose knowledge of Apollinaire was limited, for agreement, for confirmation, and Max nodded and tried to look keen. "Sure, yes. He's one of our 8. That's almost certain, I think. And yes, the Nice years especially." Sylvie stood beside him at the desk. There was some rechecking of the bill being done, a small correction to be made. There was a spider's web, low down, almost out of sight, where a cleaner would easily miss it. With the tip of his biro, Max touched it. Instantly, the insect began to spin in fast circles, violently shaking its web. He said, "I always wonder what they're doing when they do that." "Panic?" Sylvie said. "Yes, but what's going on exactly?" "Hiding the money," she suggested. He laughed. "A raid, do you think?" "Monsieur?" The card was returned with a modest flourish and polite thanks, not excessive, because this was, after all, Le Procope, and who owed most thanks, the famous location or its customer? They walked down the stairs together, Sylvie and Max. As they pushed out through the doors into that huge, raucous crush of people filling the street like a swollen river from one bank to the other, she grabbed his hand. Or had he taken hers, so they would not be swept away from one another on the current? They fought their way out of the Rue de l'Ancienne Comédie and across the boulevard. She was leading the way now, and he followed, veering right, battered by the racket, the kinds of noise changing from moment to moment. He was uncertain now where they were going, and didn't care, so long as his hand was in hers. When she stopped, he thought he recognised they were in the Rue de Vaugirard. People still swirled around them, and they were buffeted this way and that. "It's like the end of Les Enfants du Paradis," he said, but she didn't hear. "The movie!" he shouted. She pointed to her ears and shook her head. "Come," she said, pulling him with the left hand that was still holding his wrist, and with the other punching a number code in at the door from the street. Inside, when the door was shut on the wild out-there world, she said, "Have you got a moment? Come up. I couldn't hear a word." He would not have suggested this himself, but was glad of it. It removed a barrier. While they waited for the lift, "Les Enfants du Paradis," he repeated. "That's what I was shouting at you. Classic French movie. Ends with Jean-Louis Barrault losing the woman he loves in a crowd. I'm probably telling you something you know." "Garons!" she wailed, imitating Barrault's lament. "Garons!" Oh, so she had been listening. And of course she knew the movie. How could she not? Sylvie smiled at him as the cage cranked down to them. The doors opened. As they entered the small space, he thought of asking whether there was a man in her life, but it was one of those thoughts rejected before spoken. She would probably answer, of course, or always, leaving him no better informed and mildly punished for being the predictable male in a Paris lift. And she would not need to ask if he had a wife, because she would know from talk in the department that there was one, of long standing, French, that they were somewhat estranged, Max's own description of their present arrangement, and that there were 2 children. On the other hand, maybe she had heard nothing, had not been interested enough even to inquire. In the past few days, the beautiful, clever, intuitive, as she seemed to him, Sylvie